Okay, welcome back to the third and final part of Ask the King for May 30th, 2013. I've got a last batch of questions here to go through, so I don't need to time anymore because I'm just going to go through and answer all these questions. Then we'll take a couple questions out of the stream chat. I know a lot of people have been submitting their questions over the course of this stream, and we'll go from there, okay? Alright, so next question is from a gentleman named Will Black. And Will... Wait a minute. I am unmuted, right? Yes, okay. I want to make sure I wasn't talking with the mic muted. That would have been a disaster. Okay, his question is, Will Black, he says, given the current views that the Fallout 3 playthrough is getting, how long do you think you'll continue to play? Now, I'm not sure what he means, because I haven't checked the views on the Fallout 3 playthrough. This game, Fallout 3, is a game that I'm of the mentality that, regardless if people are going to watch it or not, number one, it's a game that I want to play again. It's a game that I didn't do a full accomplished playthrough of when I played it the first time because I was messing around. That was before I had an HD camera. All the DLCs came out later, and I really want to take my time with this game. This is also a game that I'm only going to play during downtime every once in a while, so it's not like a thing that's going to be ongoing forever. So if people aren't watching the playthrough, it's not like, oh no, I'm missing out on views or anything like that. It's basically a filler series. But I don't know what the views are. I haven't checked. I enjoy the game too much. I care too much. And that's really ultimately what it's about. When you like a game so much, you don't care about, oh no, how are the views doing? What's this? What's that? And that's the bottom line with Fallout 3. I'm going to continue to play it. What I can tell you is, regardless of the views on YouTube, which I don't know what they are, the streams of Fallout 3 have actually been pretty good. The streams, historically, when I stream it, get pretty decent views and everyone's enjoying the game. So, regardless of if people on YouTube get it or not, people on Twitch are, so I am going to continue that playthrough no matter what. But again, it's a downtime playthrough. It's one that I do only when I have time, and there's nothing else going on. There's really maybe no other games to play at the time, no new releases, but also maybe I'm just bored of playing other games and I want to do something refreshing. Then it's time to play Fallout 3. Okay. Next question is from WisePatty97, and he asks, Phil, I'm making a live action series on the internet, and with the success of Project 7 that you had, do you have any tips? That's a good question, because I actually did learn some unique stuff over the course of making Project 7 that could probably help you out. Okay. Number one, have a budget. And what I mean by that is have a set amount of money and or time, because budget is not only just financial, it's also time-wise. Have a certain amount set aside that is what you're going to use on the series, and that's it. And the reason I say that is because if you do something unlimited, I have unlimited time to do this, unlimited money, I have no schedule, I can put it out whenever I want. When you do that, unfortunately, a couple things happen. Number one, undoubtedly you will always go over budget, or you will always spend too much. You'll say, the sky's the limit. I could spend unlimited money on actors, on resources, on props, on wardrobe, and you're going to end up getting overblown. And when you don't have a set limit for time and or money, you'll never think that what you did was good enough, because you'll always say, well, if I spent just a little bit more time and money, it could probably look a tiny bit better. And you'll find that you'll never going to be satisfied with the final product, okay? That's my first piece of advice. Second piece of advice that I have is make sure that everyone who's invested in the project understands the scope of the project and, for all intents and purposes, has a vestment in it for a reason why they would want to stay invested in it. My major regret about Project 7 was that day one, when I sat down with everyone, Respect the Pact, Howard, John, I never basically said, okay, here's how long it's going to run, here's our time schedule, and here's what everyone's going to get out of it. Or ask everyone, what do you want to get out of it? Do you want me to constantly link or give you plugs for your work? Do you want monetary compensation? Do you want a cut later on if I ever, sell DVDs or whatever? What is it that you actually want out of the project? I never really did that. And because of that, what I feel is that some people got what they wanted out of it, and other people didn't. There's a large chance that Respect to the Pact maybe were looking for their own channel on YouTube to blow up in popularity because they were the guys who were doing all the editing and work on Project 7. That didn't really happen. And that was probably one of the factors that came into the decision that they didn't want to progress with the series anymore. Now, don't get me wrong, I also know there were many other factors, some things that personally changed in the lives of those guys that they couldn't even progress and do that anymore on YouTube. But That's the bottom line, is you should really make sure everyone's on the same page and has an agreement. Hell, if this is something ongoing that you want to do for a while, you may even want to write up a contract so that you can say, if there's ever a discrepancy in the future, say, no, right here, dude, right here on the contract, this is what you said, and you can't just change this later on. This is the agreement we had, so that you can see that there was no mistreatment, there was no lies or misconceptions, that everyone was on the same page when the project began. So I don't know if that's the kind of advice that you were looking for, but that was, I know it's very kind of professional advice, but that's what I learned when I was making Project 7. Okay. This question's from the Slinky Bitch, and he asks, this one comes from the show, so I guess maybe this was something that was being discussed on John Rambo's The Show this past week, I'm not sure. He says, do you scrunch or fold your toilet paper? I got a napkin here. I guess I would say, would I ball it up? How do you wipe your ass if you ball up toilet paper like this? Wouldn't the shit get everywhere? Wouldn't you have like little particles of shit coming on your hands and everything? No, when I wipe my ass, I flatten out my toilet paper like this. And now you have a nice protective layer, and then I firmly apply to the bottom. So that's how you should wipe your ass. Who wipes their ass like this? What, you shove it up your ass and hope that the shit comes off? What a question. What a question. Okay. Next question. This one is from Holding On to No One. Interesting name. It says, which do you prefer, your camera or direct capture? Just wanted your overall opinion now that you've been doing direct capture for a while. Well, my old style of recording versus my new style of recording. So my old style, and this is actually cool, because I think for one of the very first times ever, I can actually show you my old camera that I used to use for recording. The old style Sony 720p camera that I used to use to do my playthroughs and everything, versus this, a webcam, versus direct capture when I'm actually doing stuff, gameplay wise. Each method is actually beneficial. So what are the benefits of using a camera? Well, number one, it's literally what you see on camera is what I'm seeing. So 100% you're experiencing the same experience I'm having. You're hearing the same audio that I'm hearing. So anything crazy happens, if the TV turns off, if the audio fucks up, if the power goes out, you see it all with the camera. It's like having an eyeball right next to me. And I do feel that the audio, when you're recording with a camera, sounds great because it sounds like you're sitting in the same room as the person, like you're sitting on the couch next to them playing the video game. So in those regards, I think the camera is a massive positive. Now, where does direct capture come into play, and how is that better? Multiple reasons. Number one, the video quality is going to be better. With this, it's not direct feed, so you're always going to have a brightness adjustment issues. You're going to have clarity issues. Subtitles are going to be a lot harder to read. With direct capture, it's no longer a problem. Again, the actual straight video feed is what you're seeing. However, I do feel, and right now I'm doing direct capture with this webcam and a microphone. Some people say, now I don't know, I guess it's a matter of opinion, some people say they don't like this audio, that the audio doesn't sound as good as when I used to use the camera. I've actually listened back to my vlogs, and if you want my opinion, my vlogs I think kind of sound the same. But I do agree that with gameplay, it does sound a little different. And the audio especially, because you're hearing direct feed audio now from the game, versus hearing the ambient noise and everything in the room where it sounds more like an echoing sound with the audio. It sounds a lot different, okay? Is it better or worse? I think it's a subjective judgment. Personally, I think my honest opinion is I do actually like slightly more the audio from this camera because it sounds like you're in the room playing the game. However, there are some people who are like audio aficionados. They want the direct feed audio from the game, and they like that better. So it all depends on your personal preference. But I can tell you right now, definitively, one thing that is a massive asset to doing it this way versus the camera, no video editing required. Right now, I'm direct capturing this, and as you see, there's a border, there's a logo, there were transitions, the intro. I don't have to do any video editing. It's done. As soon as I finish recording this video, I can upload it to YouTube immediately. It used to take me hours, and I'm not exaggerating, hours, like 2-3 hours, to edit all of my Ask the King videos before I could upload them to YouTube. That is all time saved now, and I'm enjoying that time saved, and that's what I really think this is a major asset to do it this way. Oh, and of course, if you've been watching the live streams and you've been watching the direct capture footage, I'm able to do stuff on the fly now. I'm able to put up a picture. Ah, crap, it's not working. That's not it. I'm trying to find one. Hold on. Here we go. What the hell? Didn't work. Well, this is a pretty bad example since it's not fucking working. Hold on a sec. I can't see that far. That's the problem. There we go. I'm able to put up pictures on the fly during the playthroughs that are really funny and cool. And, you know, I even was able to implement, you know, an Adam Sandler clip earlier this week in gameplay that John Rambo and I were doing. So this is neat. It's like, it's different. It's interactive. I can actually manipulate the video. I don't have to edit out nudity anymore because I can just put a picture like this over the screen when the nudity is taking place, and it actually is a lot easier for me. So I actually think that ease of use wise, this is far better than the camera. The camera is a lot of work after the fact, versus this is once I'm done, and I can just upload it and it's ready to go. So there actually are more advantages, I would say, to the direct capture, the live streaming, versus using this camera overall. Am I glad that I changed my style? I am. I think that the overall quality of the videos is higher now. I do believe that. I do know that some people would say, oh, I'm just such a fan of the old camera style, but you have to understand that sometimes things change for the better. I really think that things have changed for the better, and I don't know, there are just some people who are they're just so afraid of change. Well, Phil didn't change since 2008, which is a lie, by the way, because I used to use a camera that wasn't widescreen, wasn't HD, wasn't as good. In fact, I've changed my cameras multiple times during the course of the years that I've put up videos on YouTube, but people that just are so against change, you know what, he changed, that's it, I'm gone, I'm never watching a video again. You're like, the same guy is putting out the same entertaining content. In fact, in some cases it's better because he's able to put up funny stuff during the playthroughs. He's able to have live interaction with the fans during live streams like this one. There's massive positives. The only negative is that there may be a tiny bit less video quality here on the vlog videos, and the audio may sound a little bit different. You're quitting? What changed? Did I become a different person? Am I not entertaining to you anymore? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. But there are people of that mentality, and it's funny because every one of these videos, undoubtedly on this video, you'll have comments, oh, well, he just doesn't understand. He just wants to, you should use the camera, and I'm right and he's wrong, so fuck him, I'm not watching his videos anymore. And it's like, you just can't help some people, I guess. I don't know. Okay, next question. This one's from Preston Russell, and he says, oh, okay. Let me give you some elaboration because this is multiple things. This is a viewer of mine who has cerebral palsy. Okay, it is a debilitating disease. It basically means that he cannot actively move and get around like other people. And from what I'm to understand, I think it's treatable, but it's not like you can't solve it. You know what I mean? It's not like something you can cure. And so this guy has been asking me questions. He's like, what do you think about the Xbox One press conference, the announcement that you need to use the Microsoft Kinect with the Xbox One as a mandatory thing? What about people like me, who I can't go like this to move my camera around? This guy is handicapped. I really think if Microsoft does not allow you to use a gamepad to move around the Xbox 360, or I'm sorry, the Xbox One dashboard, their console is actually not handicapped accessible. I'm going to go out there and say it. It will be literally the first console that's not handicapped accessible. Now, I know people who have one hand and can play video games. I'm not kidding. There was this kid who used to be called One Hand Fred, who used to go to the arcades with us, and he used to play video games. He would actually use his arm to move the joystick, or he actually had lost a hand when he was a kid, and he would use his hand that he had lost to like move the joystick, and he would use the other hand to press buttons. If you don't have two hands, you can't play on the Kinect. You can't even maneuver around your fucking dashboard on the Xbox. If you can't move around actively, you know, someone who has cerebral palsy might be able to actually hold a controller and play a game like everyone else. But if they can't wave their hands around, like, what the fuck? What the fuck, Microsoft? I'm being serious. What the fuck is your problem? Like, what idiot at your company didn't think enough to think that you're actually being prejudicial versus handicapped people and that they can't play your console if they have to use the Kinect? So I'm really hoping that that's just a rumor and that you can still use and play all your games with just the gamepad, or else they fucked up major, like big time. That's going to be a huge HR nightmare. Microsoft makes a console that the average person can't use if they have a handicap because they're fucking stupid. Okay. Next question. This one's from Industrial Gamer, and he says, have you heard of the recent Mirror's Edge 2 leak? Are you excited to hear more about E3? Now, if you don't know what he's talking about, he's right. There was some information that apparently has been leaked by some Italian company. I don't know if it was like a press release, or I don't know if it was like just listed on a website as a launch game. Mirror's Edge 2 was listed as a game coming out for PlayStation 4. And I think a lot of people now are hyped because Mirror's Edge, if you remember, was a game that I played in, I think it was 2009, I want to say. It was a game that I enjoyed thoroughly. It was one of my favorite games of the year, and unfortunately, it never got a sequel. They never developed a sequel for whatever reason. I think that if this game is a launch title for the new consoles, it could really push the visualization edge and the graphical engines of these consoles to the edge, and it could really be a great game to launch those consoles. The first one was amazing. I loved it. I don't know why. Again, a sequel was never made. I'm excited. Hopefully we'll have more information come E3. Okay. Next question. This one's from Eduardo, and he says, after the whole Nintendo controversy, do you intend to play another Wii game? If yes, which one? The bottom line is this. I don't know if by the time a new Wii U game comes out that I want to play, which I think the next one's Pikmin 3, and then there's like no first-party titles announced for 100 years. I don't know how this whole situation with Nintendo trying to claim ad revenue from people who do Let's Plays, I don't know how that's going to be resolved. The bottom line is this. It's crooked. What Nintendo is doing is literally crooked. What they're trying to say is that if you do a Let's Play of one of their games, that the video footage of that is their legal property and therefore they can advertise on it. I say wrong, and I already talked about it in an earlier part of this very episode of Ask the King. I feel that video games are an interactive art form. They are a unique medium where what is created is partially by the game developer and partially by the gamer themselves, and therefore either there's joint ownership or it's the ownership of the gamer who created that content with the game to make that video and to put it up and to put ads or do whatever they want with that content, okay? I feel that the current copyright laws in place were never created to accommodate for an interactive medium, and therefore they're not correct in regards to video games. I don't think that video games are protected by current copyright law. I think that the current copyright law applies in this case. If I took the game of Grid 2 and I took the disc and I put it in my PC and I ripped the code off the disc and then I distributed the code on the internet, that would be a violation of copyright law. But if I play Grid 2 and I create my own playthrough based off of my gameplay, my skill level, my commentary, my experience, that should be my legal property because that's an interactive art form. And therefore, we really need to hash out copyright laws better. So for Nintendo to go out and go to YouTube and say, we're just claiming all Nintendo content. Anything that's Nintendo on your website, we're going to advertise on and make money on now, is crooked. It should be against the law because there just is no law right now. It should be against the law. And people should basically boycott Nintendo. That's my feeling. If you really think Nintendo is wrong on what they're doing, with their completely misdirected Wii U launch, the fact that there's no fucking games for the system now, and the fact that they think that your property is theirs and they can make money on it, you should say, fuck Nintendo, I'm not going to support them. And it's no surprise that Nintendo's not having a big press conference come E3. They've got nothing to talk about. They're going to probably show like 5 games that are all first-party titles coming up, and no one's going to give a flaming fuck. The Wii U is a huge fucking flop. No one's buying it. No one's playing it. And even though there was, oh no, well, we saw the 2 press conferences for the Xbox One and the PS4. Maybe I should buy the Wii U. It's not, if you're thinking that, stop. Don't fucking shoot yourself in the leg. You don't want a $300 paperweight. All you're going to be playing on that fucking thing are first-party titles. EA has already officially come out and said, we are not developing any games for the Wii U. The thing didn't sell. The thing's hardware sucks. We don't want to make games for it. One of the guys on Twitter, or for EA, went to Twitter, had this big tirade about how they hate the system and they hate Nintendo because they're stupid about their decisions developing this console. And then he had to delete all the tweets, of course, because he probably got yelled at by his boss. But the bottom line is this. The Wii U is a failure. Nintendo is now in panic mode. They don't know what to do, and they're trying to find money wherever they can. It's crooked what they're doing on YouTube. I don't know if I will, in the future, be doing playthroughs of their games. Maybe there's a chance that I'll stream the stuff, because so far nothing's been affected on Twitch. It's only been YouTube. But we'll have to see what happens once these first-party games finally start coming out, whether or not I give them the time of day. Okay. Jason Wren asks, are you and Panda Lee still planning on getting a place together, and how's the search going? Good question, and I've been talking to her about this recently, actually. Our goal was that by the end of this year, we would at least be seriously looking into, I don't know, moving, or at least looking into finding a better place to live. Because ideally, what I need to do is move to a place where the taxes are lower and cost of living is lower. Because if I can make the same amount of money I'm making now, but just go to some place that's less expensive, it basically means I'm making more money. You know what I mean? And ideally, this place is too small. I'm too cramped. Panda Lee could not live here with me. It's too big. It's too small for two people. Okay. The problem being, number one, this year things are changing. Like I said, my views and oh no, if you don't want to hear me talk about views, skip ahead to the next question, because I'm tired of people fucking whining about it. You are my viewers, and you're my fans, and a lot of people care about this stuff. They want to know how I'm doing. This question is directly related to views, so I'm going to talk about it. My views have been down this year. This month, the month of May, is actually probably the worst month, view-wise, since I started being partnered with Machinima in 2010. But take a look at this month. What the fuck came out this month? You had such a stinker month. You had Deadly Premonition, which a lot of people didn't want to give the time of day because it was a re-release. And by the way, the graphics were all buggy. Even though the game was great, the playthrough was great, a lot of people didn't want to give it a chance. You had no new games coming out for the first 2 weeks. A Philly trip where I wasn't even actively recording anything new. Then I came back and did Metro Last Light, but I did it late. Resident Evil Revelations, no one really watched because it was a re-release. Fuse is a massive flop. Fuse is a horrible fucking game. And I do see there was one other game there. I can't see it right now. But basically, the bottom line is there was nothing good this month. Like, out of all the games I played, the biggest views were like Injustice, which is an ongoing playthrough. Dark Souls, which was an ongoing playthrough. The new stuff just didn't really appeal to a lot of people. So, is it a surprise that the views weren't so good this month? No. What I've seen historically, this year at least, is that when really good games come out, like when Bioshock Infinite, that playthrough did amazing because the game was fucking amazing, so obviously my playthrough was great. Injustice, my story mode and initial gameplay of that game did astronomically well views-wise, and my ongoing online play of that is doing really well. So when you have a game that's great, the views will be good. So if this year picks up, and all these great games like The Last of Us is coming out next month. Marvel Heroes is coming out in a few days. We got big releases like Grand Theft Auto 4, Saints Row 4, Assassin's Creed 4. Of course, the new Call of Duty. A lot of big games. Beyond Two Souls, how I could forget that one. I mean, all these big titles that are coming out this year. And we've got the potential launch of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. If all these things come out and are actually good, and I'm doing good views-wise, there's a very big possibility that come next year I may be moving. However, I have to see. I have to play it by ear. The other big concern that is like kind of looming behind me, it's like the thing right here on my shoulder, is that I don't know what's going to happen with Machinima. As you know, as I told you, I had my contract renegotiated last year, and I am making less money now than I was. Chances are, next year I may get renegotiated again. And I'll be honest with everyone, it doesn't look like the news is good regarding the amount of ad revenue on YouTube is down, and I probably will have my contract renegotiated again. I don't know what's going to happen with that. So we're going to have to see what happens with that. And it's an unfortunate thing that's kind of looming behind me, is that here I am adapting, doing live streaming, doing new thing, direct capture. All this stuff is great positive movement. My subs, actually, my subscriptions have been going higher and higher. People are actually subbing and not unsubbing for the first time on YouTube, which is great. But at the same time, I've got this thing looming behind me that no matter what I do at the end of this year, there may be a big negative thing coming, and there's nothing I can do about it. So I'll keep everyone in the loop on that, and at the end of this year, I guess we'll discuss it again, and we'll see what happens with that. Okay. 2 more questions, and then I'll take like 1 or 2 stream questions, and we'll wrap it up because we're going long here. The next question is from Oh, wait, I think I already addressed these. Oh, there's only one question left. I'm sorry, I got confused. And it's a real quick one from Alex Patsy. Asks, we all know that Nintendo is in trouble with the Wii U. Do you think that they should stay in the console market, or should they just focus on making handheld games for the 3DS and license their games out so they can be produced on other consoles? Nintendo should cut the shit. They should understand that they're not smarter than anybody else. They should stop being so snooty and elitist and think that they are the innovators. And they should realize that they fucked up, and they should take their games and they should develop them for other consoles. Because the bottom line is, all their console exclusives, the next Zelda, the next Nintendo, or the next Mario and all that, they're not going to sell well. I'll tell you right now. The Wii U is a flop. The mentality is that it's a flop. When something is commonly believed to be a flop, there's a group mentality. People don't buy it anymore. People always went to Nintendo because they said, Nintendo is a staple. Their first-party titles are great. So regardless of what else is on the system, I'm going to buy it for that. This is the first time I think I've seen a console launch for Nintendo, outside of the fucking Virtual Boy, which wasn't a real console launch, where the overall opinion on Nintendo is negative. Everyone is just feeling negative about Nintendo. I think they really screwed up. For the first time in their history, they're going to be the market loser, number 3 by far, and they're going to have to rethink their business strategy. And I would almost go as far to say that you might see these first-party titles now being developed for the other consoles because they need to make up the money that they're going to lose on this Wii U venture. Okay. So, it's now time to draw a couple questions from the stream chat. So let me see how I do this. Bear with me here while I try to figure it out. Let's see here. It says I need to type in a certain command to get a question, so I'm going to type it in here. Okay, the first question has worked well. The first question is from Kless the Angel, and he asks, will you ever come back to Xenoblade or XCOM? Can we consider those playthroughs dead? The bottom line is, those playthroughs are dead. That's me being completely honest. Xenoblade Chronicles, I played a year ago, and I'm not going to go back to it. It was, if I had been live streaming and been doing longer extended playthroughs last year like I'm doing now, then it would have had more of a chance. But it was just a game that I played during a time when that wasn't the case. And now, unfortunately, you know, it's too late to go back to it. I've got games up the wazoo. I've got ongoing series like Demon's Souls and Fallout 3, and very soon probably Marvel Heroes, and I just don't have an opportunity to go back to it at this point. XCOM, another one where unfortunately I didn't have the time I wanted to play it. It was a really good game, but it was getting more difficult, and at the same time, a whole bunch of new releases came out this year that I wanted to play. I just didn't have time to go back to it. At this point, 5 months, 6 months later, no, I'm not going to be going back to XCOM. I don't know what happened with the stream chat. Apparently no one else can talk now. I didn't know that if I did the raffle that it was actually going to freeze the stream chat. So everyone just bear with me, and I guess I'll undo it after I draw some more questions. I don't know what's going on. Oh, that was Hazard that did that. Okay. I guess because he wants me to actually be able to see the questions. This one's from Uno Bono. His question is, do bears shit in the woods? To which I answer, I fucking hope so, because I don't want them shitting in my fucking yard. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Next question. This is a good one, too. This one is from the Monster Atlas, and he says, Phil, did you sign up for the Machinima E3 promotion that's going on this year? If you don't know what he's talking about, I guess what Machinima's doing is they have a special promotion where if you talk about E3 in videos, that you may get like a bonus, a CPM bonus on any videos where you talk about E3. I was already planning on doing that. If you remember, every year I usually do E3 recap videos about each press conference, about what games are out. Last year I had the privilege of going to E3. This year I don't. Machinima actually wasn't sending any partners to E3 this year. However, it makes sense that I sign up for this thing because I'm already going to be making videos. So I already have signed up for it, and I should be all set. So E3 week, you'll see lots of coverage regarding games, regarding the press conferences and everything E3, live streamed here on Twitch, and then uploaded to YouTube as well. Okay, next question. CD2114 says, what do you think about the ending of Last of Us being leaked on the internet? I think it's fucked up. I think, again, as I've been talking about a lot in this episode of Ask the King, there are a lot of people who are just mentally ill. They get their jollies from weird shit. There are people out there who get their jollies from completely spoiling the story and ending of a game that may be one of the most hyped and most exciting games this year because they're dicks. I fucked them. I got them. Remember that video that went viral on the internet of the release line of the next Harry Potter novel? This was years and years ago. And some asshole drives by and a car goes, Snape kills Dumbledore! And drives away, and this nerdy girl, she goes, no! Like, she's so fucking upset because the book was ruined. But there's people who love that. They love to spoil shit, and they get their jollies just for the sake of knowing that they fucked with you, and they upset you. And it's messed up. It shouldn't happen. And I personally stay away from spoilers, and I do not read them. I do not look too much into like news stories and stuff just for this purpose, because I don't want shit to be spoiled. So The Last of Us has not been spoiled for me. I'm sure during my gameplay of it, I gotta go punch the air conditioner again. I'm sure during my gameplay of it, multiple people will be trying to spoil. Hopefully we'll be able to contain that by moderating the chat. Oh, now it's quiet again. Alright, one or two more questions, and that'll be the end of it. Okay. Alright, this question is from, let's see, Canadian Geese. Phil, can you help me with a math question? Next question. What do you think this is? John Rambo's The Show where we do your math homework for you? No, you do your own. Okay. Red Axe asks, do you have a favorite genre of games, for example, RPGs? It's hard for me to say, because I've enjoyed so many different genres of games over the years. Obviously, my competitive love is fighting games. But I enjoy a good platformer, a good action-based shooter, a good first-person shooter that's unique enough to get my interest. Certain puzzle games, certain RPGs. I like RPGs where you can grind, but you can actually use the grinding to your advantage later on and progress easier on in the game. I like that. I don't know. There's just a lot of different games that I like. I don't really think that I could ever just put my finger down on one particular genre and say, this is my favorite. I love this. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry that I can't really give you a good answer, but that's pretty much my feeling on games in general. This will be the final chat question, and this will be it for this episode of Ask the King. So let's do it. Here we go. All right. The question is, wow, these are really intelligent questions this month. I'm loving this. Maud AD5, or maybe it's Maud Dead 5, says, do you think that underage people should play 18 and up games? So what he means is mature rated, 17 plus, depending on what country you're in, the ratings board is different, and therefore your rating system is different. He wants to know, do I think that underage people should be playing these games? The bottom line is, it depends on the person. It depends on the maturity level of the person, on the exposure that person has had to this kind of content. And keep in mind, games get rated this stuff for different reasons. Some games have nudity. Some games have sexual content. Some games have extreme gore and violence. Some games have a very adult language. So it all depends on what it's being rated on. Let me give you an example. Back in the 1990s, yes, games were being rated, but in arcades, it didn't matter. You could walk into any video arcade, put $1 in a machine, and play any game you wanted. There were like 10-year-olds playing Mortal Kombat. I'm not kidding. Like, there were young kids playing Mortal Kombat, games where you would viciously rip people's hearts out and fucking, you know, rip their arms off and beat them on the head like a drum. They would play these games, and they loved it because this was their exposure to violence. So I guess it really depends. Like, if I saw a small child play Mortal Kombat like that, would I be upset? Would I be upset? No. But then again, is this kid now becoming desensitized to it? Do they understand what they're playing, that it's entertainment and it's fantasy? It's a slippery slope. Do I think that, you know, if a kid wants a mature rated game, should a kid just beg their parents and the parents go get it anyway? I've seen this a lot of times. Little kids, and I know because I play them with them on fucking Call of Duty and shit. Little 12-year-old, 10-year-old kid, oh, this game, I'm playing the game now. Their voice is so high-pitched. And you're like, how the fuck did you get Call of Duty? It's a mature rated game. Oh, my mommy bought it for me. It's like, talk about a complete failure of the parental system. I think that here, let me put it this way. I think that if parents actually did their fucking jobs well, you wouldn't need to worry about game stores selling these games to kids. Because the kid wouldn't be able to sneak to the store and buy the fucking mature rated game. You know what I mean? Or probably the kid wouldn't be able to get the game. Because the store wouldn't sell it to them and their parents get it for them. So, for me, do I think that there should be an across-the-board, oh no, it's like you cannot play this game or watch this game because you're a certain age? No. I think it's dependent upon the maturity level of the child or young adult teenager. However, I think it's the parent's job to decide whether or not it's best for their kid and or if the maturity level of their kid is ready to handle that kind of game. And I think that parents need to really man up and be better parents rather than just, oh, well, my kid's whining and complaining. I'll give him fucking Call of Duty and he'll shut up for the next 4 months and I can go fucking do whatever I want. Irresponsible, disgusting. This is the kind of parenting that we're getting in the world today, and that's why we have so many problems with this kind of stuff. Okay, that is it for Ask the King. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We have 932 people on the stream by the end. That's crazy for a vlog. Thank you very much, everyone who tuned in here on Twitch and also here on YouTube. I will now end the stream. We're going to upload these videos to YouTube. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that you'll enjoy it. And thanks for joining me for Ask the King. Peace out.